Hello, my lovely rose garden. This is Avalon.
And Ray.
And we are back for Throne of Glass, Chapter 12. Out of 55. I feel like that was some missing context from before. There are 55 chapters in this book, some longer than others. Chapter 55 itself is very short. Also, the heat wave is melting my brain slowly, so we'll see how far I can get.
Yeah, it's really warm in here.
In other news, Winnie went to the vet today, and they said that she's the goodest girl. So, vet certified best girl.
Mm-hmm.
She just needs to get her little dentist visit in.
And if you want to contribute to Winnie's vet bills, you should check out our Patreon. Check out that smooth ad drop right there. I am a professional.
The link is in the description, and when you join our Patreon, you get all kinds of awesome rewards, such as early access to videos like these, access to our Discord channels that are only for patrons, and sweet things like having your name in the titles, not the titles, the credits of videos.
And if you pay to a certain tier, you can get your name in the books.
Yes, in the acknowledgments page of my books that come out. And I do have one coming out this year. Details to follow. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy that.
So, yeah, if you want to pay to help us afford Winnie's horrible teeth cleaning. Actually, her teeth aren't that bad. Like, it's really just, like, the very back.
Yeah, it's just, like, all the way in the back has some tartar buildup. But,
yeah. But
dental care for cats is expensive because they have to use anesthesia.
Yeah, because they would not otherwise allow someone to scrape plaque off of their teeth without being knocked out.
So yeah, it's gonna be expensive. Would appreciate any help, but it's cool if you just want to like hop on and just see what we got going on over there. We do have also a freebies for followers collection. So if you don't have the ability to donate right now, but you just want to, hop on and follow us, you can get a couple things just for following for free.
Just for being here.
And one of those things is access. The brain melt, it's happening. Access to our Rose Garden Discord server. Only paid members will have access to the patron-only channels, but you can access the other channels for free by joining on Patreon. Just clicking follow, and yeah. Okay, that was a lot of ad read. Let's go chapter 12. In the last chapter, Selena was a condescending bitch. Just like every chapter before. Just as Selena was about to launch herself and her knives at the captain. Don't get excited. This action won't last. Someone stomped a spear on the ground and called the room to attention. She faced the voice and found a stocky, balding man standing beneath the mezzanine. "Your attention now," the man repeated. Selena looked to Kael, who nodded, taking the knives from her as they joined the 23 other competitors encircling the man. "I'm Theodus Brulo, weapons master and judge of this competition. Of course our king's the final judge of you sorry lot, but I'll be the one determining every day if you're fit to be his champion." He patted his sword hilt, and Selena had to admire the beautiful woven gold of the pommel. "I've been weapons master here for 30 years, and lived in this castle for 25 more than that. I've trained many a lord and knight, and many a would-be champion of Aeriel. It will be very hard to impress me." Is it weird, or am I already feeling like this character has gotten to speak more words about who they are than, like, most other characters in this book? Without Selena immediately cutting in and being like, "Yeah, he's old and bald. I bet I could kill him." Like, as I turn the page, it's a 50-50 chance of whether that is going to be the next line out of it.
I would kill him, and Besides Selena, Kael
Kale stood with his shoulders thrown back. It occurred to her that Brullo might have trained the captain. Given how easily Kale had kept up with her, if Brullo had trained him, then the weapons master must live up to his title. She knew better than anyone not to underestimate opponents based on their appearance.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
See previous episode. Okay, but so far this is good. We're getting actual information. We're getting character details that are connecting outside of just Selena's opinion of them. Like this little detail that this guy probably trained Kale is legitimately something I wouldn't have considered immediately, and I'm glad that it was brought up. Okay, we're doing it. Maybe it's just the heat wave melting my brain, but we're doing it. We're getting good writing.
No. It's still, like, the literal thing she just said is still wildly contradictory.
Yeah, until the last line.
Literally everything about her before this. She has done nothing but underestimate her opponents at every turn.
Based on their appearance.
Yes.
Yeah, like, up until that very last sentence of this paragraph, I was on board with this chapter. I was like, okay, we're doing something, we're getting some plot, maybe, some world building, some characters that are neat. And then she said, yeah, she knows better than anyone not to underestimate opponents based on their appearance. That is all you do, bitch.
You literally looked at, like, all the people that you're going up against in this room and are all like, oh, they're big and brutish. They must be stupid.
And slow.
It's like, you don't know shit.
I feel like when they say she knew better than anyone not to do this, that's kind of like saying, I know better than anyone that I shouldn't eat apples, but I do anyway.
Yeah.
Or like, I know better than anyone that eating 2 ice cream sundaes a day is not good for me. But.
But it's summer and I deserve a little treat.
I deserve a little treat. I did not buy any ice cream this week. Because I have...
Cutting yourself off.
Because I have, for 2 weeks in a row, utterly demolished a 5-quart container of ice cream in under a week. For 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
It's not good. I'm giggling because I'm ashamed.
You need to do something with that empty quart.
I was actually thinking that I could... Okay, tell me if your parents or grandparents ever did this, but like you take those and you wash them out and then you use them for chalk.
Oh yeah, I had one for chalk. We don't have any chalk.
But we could.
Yeah, but who wants to draw with chalk right now? It's literally boiling outside.
Well, not right now, but, you know, think about it. Think it over.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Anyway, okay, back to this. The king's already told... I forgot the voice that I was doing for this character
Don't
already.
worry about it.
The king's already told you all there is to know about this competition, Brullo said. I feel like he hasn't, holding his hands behind his back. But I figured you lot are itching to know more about each other. He pointed a stubby finger at Kane. You, what's your name, occupation, and where do you hail from? And to be honest about it, I know none of you are bakers and candlestick makers.
I like this little guy.
Kane's insufferable grin returned. Kane, soldier in the king's army. I hail from the White Fang Mountains. Awoo!
Awoo!
Of course he did. She'd heard tales of the brutality of the mountain folk from that region and seen a few of them up close, seen the fierceness in their eyes. Many of them had rebelled against Adderlin, and most wound up dead. What would his fellow mountain dwellers say if they could see him now? She gritted her teeth. Grit. Just grit. What would the people of Terracin say if they could see her now? Bruno, however, either didn't know or didn't care, and didn't even give a nod before he pointed at the man to Kane's right. Selena immediately liked him. And you? Oh, that's why he's given some modicum of respect. We're supposed to like this character. Which I do, admittedly. Because Selena likes this character. I don't know why, but okay. A slender, tall man with thinning blonde hair surveyed the circle and sneered. Xavier Forel, master thief of Melisande. Master thief? That man? Of course, she realized, his reed thinness probably aided in slipping into houses. Maybe it wasn't a bluff. She knew better than anyone not to underestimate based on appearances. Like, I get that she's not exactly underestimating right now, but making assumptions in general is just kind of assuming that you already know what someone's strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
So...
It's like...
One by one, the 21 other competitors introduced themselves. Okay, we don't give a shit about these people. There were 6 more seasoned soldiers, all of them thrown out of the army for questionable behavior, which must have been truly questionable given that Aderlin's army was notorious for ruthlessness. Then there were 3 other thieves, including the dark-haired, gray-eyed Knox Owen, whom she'd actually heard of in passing, and who'd been giving her such charming smiles all morning. How come he doesn't get to introduce himself then? He's like got a name and everything.
He has a name. He's important. He's a person.
I might recruit him for my army to face the Kingdom of Bern. Nah, my thieves don't last long.
It's true.
The 3 mercenaries looked ready to boil someone alive, and then there were the 2 shackled murderers. As his name suggested, Bill Chastain, the Eye Eater, ate the eyes of his victims.
Why do they call you that? Because I eat eyes.
He looked surprisingly plain, with mousy brown hair, tan skin, and average height, though Selena had trouble not staring at his scar-flecked mouth. You want to know how I got these scars? That was not a good Heath Ledger.
You want to know how I got these scars? And it's all like botched dental surgery. He's like, yeah.
The other murderer was Ned Clement, who'd gone for 3 years under the name Scythe for the weapon he'd used to torture and hack apart temple priestesses. It was a wonder they hadn't executed either man, though from their tanned skin she'd guessed they'd spent the year since their captures toiling under the sun in Calicola, the southern sister labor camp to Endovier.
Same reason they haven't killed your ass.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't they have killed you? Next came 2 scarred, silent men who seemed to be cronies of some far-off warlord, and then the 5 assassins. She immediately forgot the names of the first 4. But she knows better than anyone not to underestimate based on appearances. Now she's underestimating based on names. A gangly, haughty boy, a hulking brute... Oh, no! Names and appearances. A haughty boy, a hulking brute, a disdainful runt of a man, and a sniveling, hawk-nosed prat who claimed he had an affinity for knives. They weren't even in the Assassin's Guild. Not that Arabin Hamel would ever allow them in.
Okay, but could you maybe consider that they're foreign and thus would not be in the local guild?
Or possibly that you have been out of action for a year and things may have changed. And there could be other people you don't know about. There could have been people you didn't know about before that Arabin Hamel just didn't fucking want to tell you about.
Yeah.
You know, because assassins are known for being very upfront, honest and respectful about that kind of shit. Membership required years of training and a more than impressive track record. While these 4 might be skilled, they lacked the refinement that Arabin favored in his followers. She'd have to keep an eye on them, but at least they weren't the silent assassins from the windswept dunes of the Red Desert. Those would be worthy of her. They'd make her sweat a bit. I think there's like a side story about this.
And then once again, she is making assumptions that have no foundation at this point.
Making assumptions and also leaving some crumbs of like, oh yeah, like you have to be a real badass like I am. You won't get to see me do any badass shit, but you just know that I am a real and true. I have 300 confirmed kills. She'd spent a month training with them one burning summer, and her muscles still ached at the memory of their grueling exercises. The last assassin, who called himself Grave, made her pause. He was slight and short, with the kind of wicked face that made people quickly look away. He'd entered the room wearing shackles, and only had them removed when his guards, all 5 of them, gave him a stern warning. Even now they stood nearby, watching him relentlessly. As he introduced himself, Grave flashed an oily smile, revealing his brown teeth. Her disgust didn't improve when Grave ran an eye over her body. An assassin like that never stopped at just killing, not if his victim was female. She willed herself to hold his hungry gaze. Oh, okay, It hasn't happened yet, but we have our first, I believe, allusion to sexual assault in a YA book.
Fun. Also, what? You're not gonna discount him because he's not part of your stupid guild? You're not gonna be like, oh, I don't have to worry about him. Because he's not a part of the guild, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, like, why are you worried about this guy?
Yeah. What about the other guys? Like, I just want one of these other, like, nameless assassins to kill her.
I know. Because they should be nameless. You shouldn't know their names because they're fucking assassins.
Yeah. Like an assassin named John Smith, and she immediately forgets his name, and then he comes up and slices her throat while everyone's talking.
He's like, and I was sent here to kill Selena Sardothian, and now I've done that, so bye.
Peace. Boy. Anyway.
I'm gonna wait for now, but I get the feeling that we're gonna have a chance at some point to discuss the overuse of sexual assault in young adult and new adult books.
Great. I can't wait.
I cannot confirm this, but I don't want to get into it now and then find another spot some chapters down the line that's more appropriate for that conversation.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna move on from that part. And you, Brullo said, cutting into her thoughts. Lillian Gordana. I'm gonna pronounce her last name differently every time. She said, holding her chin high. Jewel thief from Belhaven. I forgot to do the voice. Oh well. Yeah. She's faking right now. This isn't her true self. Some of the men sniggered, and she clenched her teeth. They'd stop their laughing if they knew her true name, if they knew this jewel thief could skin them alive without a knife. Fucking how. She's got a potato peeler tucked in her pocket.
Just like, girl,
with her teeth? What
you like had a freaking conniption fit at like the clock. Like, girl, you ain't as scary as you think you are.
You had to write that. You had to commit to that line. You had to be like, if they knew this jewel thief could skin them alive without a knife. And I'm like, what were we supposed to picture in that moment?
How would she be able to skin someone without a knife? Like, logistically.
Because now I'm just thinking of, like, someone holding a carrot and, like, with their 2 front teeth just kind of...
But it's like, what?
The fuck?
That would be... Skinning them alive without a knife would be quite difficult because...
Who's gonna sit there for that long?
Who's gonna sit there for that long? Jesus Christ.
It'd be hard to skin him alive with a knife.
Yeah.
Fine, Brullo said, waving a hand. You all have 5 minutes to put away your weapons and catch your breath. Then we're on a mandatory run to see how fit you are. Those of you who can't run the distance, go home or back to whatever prison your sponsors found you rotting in. Your first test is in 5 days. Consider us merciful it's not sooner. With that, everyone scattered. Like roaches when you turn a light on. The champions murmuring to their trainers about whatever competitor they deemed the biggest threat. Kane or Grave, most likely. Certainly not a jewel thief from Belhaven. Kale remained beside her, watching the champions stride off. She hadn't spent 8 years building a reputation and a year laboring in Endovier to be disregarded like this. Yes, you have.
You're an assassin, bitch. You're meant to be disregarded. And the assassins that you completely forgot the names of have succeeded in that.
They are already better at being assassins than you. Because you have disregarded them. Which is the point. The point is to not see an assassin coming. The stealthier they are, the better. And stealthy usually means unremarkable and unnoticed. You dumb bitch. If I have to call myself a jewel thief again...
Shut the fuck up.
Kale raised his brows. You'll do what exactly? Kale!
You'll do what? What, bitch? What will you do? Be sent back to prison? Bitch?
I love you, Kale. We are gonna be giving away our copy of this book to someone in the Discord server. So, I feel like every time Kale says anything, they'll just see a bunch of ooh. We'll have to mark it up. We haven't started marking it up yet, but we will.
Yes.
It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. There we go. Do you know how insulting it is to pretend to be some nobody thief from a small city in Fenhero? He stared her down, quiet for a moment. Are you that arrogant? She bristled, but he went on. It was foolish to spar with you just now. I'll admit that I hadn't realized you'd be that good. Thankfully, no one noticed. And do you want to know why, Lillian? He took a step closer, his voice lowering. Because you're some pretty little girl. Because you're a nobody jewel thief from a small city in Fenhero. Look around. He half turned to the other champions. Is anyone staring at you? Are any of them sizing you up? No, because you're not real competition. Because you don't stand between them and whatever freedom or wealth they're looking for. Exactly, it's insulting. It's smart is what it is. And you're going to keep a low profile throughout this entire competition. You're not going to excel, and you're not going to trounce those thieves and soldiers and unknown assassins. You're going to stay solidly in the middle where no one will look your way because you're not a threat. Because they'll think that you'll be eliminated sooner or later. And they should focus their attention on getting rid of bigger, stronger, faster champions like Kane. But you're going to outlast them, Kale continued. And when they wake up on the morning of the final duel and find that you are their opponent and that you have beaten them, the look on their faces will make all of the insults and lack of attention worthwhile. He extended his hand to lead her outside. So what do you have to say about that, Lillian Gordana? I can look out for myself, she said lightly, taking his hand.
Oh my god.
But I have to say you're rather brilliant, Captain. So brilliant, actually, that I might give you one of the jewels I plan to steal from the Queen tonight. Kale chuckled, and they strode outside to where the running contest waited.
I can't believe this had to be spelled out for her.
I know, like...
He literally took her aside with, like, you know, a chart for kindergartners and is like, all right, friends, let's sit down for a second. I'm going to explain the plot.
Like, I could understand including this for the benefit of readers, because this is, I have to remember, this is young adult. It is aimed at a slightly younger audience than an adult novel would be.
But even as
I feel like most teenagers who are interested in reading a book this thick would have the comprehension to pick up on this already.
Yeah.
But this should have been sooner.
This type of, like, description of what the plan is, TM, and not having the main character figure this out on their own, or at least even allude to it. This is, like...
Bad?
Low middle school tier writing. In the way that it's all like, okay, well, you know, there's gonna be some kids who don't catch up on this. But, you know, the fact that she's an assassin, and knowing what an assassin does, and all that stuff, that's something that, you know, you're pretty well aware of in high school.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, yeah, this is like... I'm pretty sure Animorphs has more subtle writing than this.
Yeah, much.
And that was, Scholastic Book Fair. So you've got a ways to go, Sarah J. Maas. Come on now. Expect more from your readers.
And I think I should go back and clarify. It's not that I necessarily mind having this, passage of text included. What I'm taking issue with is that it's Chaol telling this to Selena.
Yeah.
And not Selena thinking this to herself as she looks around the room.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that, it should have been more, because, okay, Selena, for better or for worse, mostly for worse, is our POV character. She is the audience surrogate. She is the power fantasy of, you are the one who is, this well-known assassin and is going to have all the boys mooning over her by the end of the book. You don't think that, having the character be all oh yeah, this jewel thief thing, as embarrassing as it might be, is going to work out for me in the end. They aren't even noticing me. And then that's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say. And then you can have your character be smart enough to know to go undercover as an assassin.
Instead, we just have Chaol, single brain cell man over here, only person with a brain cell in the whole book, just coming over and being like, dumb bitch.
Yeah, and I'm just all
It's the relationship that I imagine between them right now, and I'm sure that this was only included so that we could get that little, oh, that's so brilliant, I might give you a jewel I plan to steal. That was the purpose of this section. This whole exchange was just so she could make that little cheeky remark. Which is why he's the one explaining all this. Because fuck the greater narrative. But what I imagine is that fucking video where it's the person wakes up and they're like, I just killed your whole family. And what? I live alone. Well, who are all these people in your house? There's people in my house? Well, not anymore, dumb bitch. The person saying, not anymore, you dumb bitch, should be Selena.
Yeah.
But it's Chaol.
Yeah.
That's the relationship. Also, fuck whatever description they gave of him, because I'm just gonna assign a vision in my head of what this guy looks like. So I just want anyone who reads webtoons to know, if you are reading Age of Arrogance right now, the prince from that is who I am imagining as Chaol. Just so you know. Okay.
Thanks, I know nothing about this.
Yeah, just a little Easter egg for any webtoons enjoyers out there. All right, we're almost done. Let's get through this.
All I'm saying is that if I were a maybe junior high school girl reading this and being all oh yeah, I'm really edgy. Selena is my self-insert protagonist power fantasy. I would feel a little insulted that she hadn't figured this out on her own. That she needed a man to tell her the smart thing.
Girl power. Have a man mansplain the whole plot to you.
Yeah, have a man mansplain the concept of going undercover in order to lower people's expectations to our assassin main character power fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm just all I would feel a little bit put off by that. Maybe that's just me.
Her lungs burned and her legs were leaden, but she kept running, kept her position in the middle of the pack of champions. Brullo, Chaol, and other trainers, along with 36 armed guards, followed them around the game park on horseback. Some of the champions, Grave, Ned, and Bill included, had been given long manacles. She supposed it was a privilege that Chaol hadn't locked her up too, But to her surprise, Kane led the pack, and was nearly 10 yards in front of the rest of them. How could he possibly be that fast? She knew better than anyone not to underestimate based on appearance.
Girl.
It's almost like muscles do things. The sound of crunching leaves and labored breathing filled the warm autumn air, and Selena kept her gaze on the damp and gleaming dark hair of the thief in front of her. One step after another, one breath in, one breath out. Breathe. She had to remember to keep breathing, because quite frankly, I'm not sure she's intelligent enough to know to breathe and run at the same time. Ahead, Kane turned a corner, heading north, back toward the castle. Like a flock of birds, they followed him, one step after another, never slowing down. Let them all watch Kane. Let them plot against him. She didn't need to win the race to prove she was better. She was better without any kind of validation that the king could give her. She missed a breath, and her knees wobbled, but she kept upright. The run would be over soon. Soon. So again, you could have just put all that shit that Kale just told her, you just put it right here.
Yeah.
Where she's talking about literally running in the middle of the pack. Instead of repeating that idea twice.
It's once again like Jenny Nicholson talking about Escape from Tomorrow, because the writer doesn't think we're smart enough to remember what just happened.
My arch nemesis, that hack fraud Sarah J. Maas. She hadn't even dared to look behind her to see if any had fallen. She could feel Kale's eyes on her, though, reminding her to keep in the middle.
It's like...
Third time!
It's like, okay, this is... You remember how we talked about what constitutes fan fiction writing, right? And how, like, every chapter you kind of have to remind readers of important details because it's been weeks since the last update. This is all in the same chapter. This is like... This is like... sad Wattpad writing.
This is within two pages.
Baby's first Wattpad story.
Within 2 pages, we have had it mentioned that she needs to be in the middle 3 times.
Or no. This is middle school essay writing, where you have to restate your thesis in every paragraph.
Because you gotta hit that word count, baby.
You gotta hit that word count, baby.
I am gonna get to 2 pages double
spaced. Fucking MLA format. I'm gonna make the periods a bigger size so that it pads it out more.
My spaces are in size 14.
but yeah, it's giving I'm padding this book out because I don't actually have enough plot or characterization to fill out my page count.
Babe, I'm gonna fucking lose it. I just got a glimpse at the next paragraph.
Oh no.
Here we go. Reminding her to keep in the middle. At least he had that much faith in her. The trees parted, revealing the field that lay between the game park and the stables, the end of the path. Her head spun, and she would have cursed at the stitch that lanced through her side had she any breath to do so. She had to stay in the middle. Stay in the middle. 5 times. 5 times in 2 pages. We have mentioned that she needs to stay in the middle.
Girl.
Kill me. Kane cleared the trees and raised his arms above his head in victory. He ran a few more feet, slowing his pace to cool down, and his trainer cheered for him. Selena's only response was to keep her feet moving, only a few yards left. The light of the open field grew brighter and brighter as it approached. Stars flashed before her eyes, swarming in her vision. She had to stay in the middle. Ding! 6. Years of training with Arab and Hamill had taught her the dangers of giving up too easily. Then she was through the trees, and the open field surrounded her in an explosion of space and grass and blue sky. The men in front of her slowed to a stop. It was all she could do to keep from sinking to her knees, but she made her legs slow, made her feet walk, made herself take breath after breath as stars continued bursting before her eyes. "Good," Brullo said, reining his horse and surveying whoever had first returned. Get water. We've got more training after this. Through the spots in her vision, she saw Kale stop his horse. Her feet moved of their own accord toward him, then passed back to the woods. Where are you going? I dropped my ring back there, she lied, doing her best to look scatterbrained. Just give me a moment to find it. Without waiting for his approval, she entered the trees to the sneers and snickers of the champions who had overheard. From the approaching crashing noises, she knew another champion was on his way out. She stepped into the cover of the bushes, stumbling as the world became dark and light and tilted. She had barely sunk to her knees when she vomited. She heaved and heaved until she had nothing left inside. The straggling champion passed by. On trembling limbs, she grappled onto a nearby tree and hauled herself upright again. She found Captain Westfall standing across the path, watching her with pursed lips. She wiped her mouth on the back of her wrist and said nothing to him as she exited the woods. Hey look, actual intelligence. She has once again misdirected her competition into thinking that she's just some dumb jewel thief who is there because she's pretty, and was successfully able to hide the fact that this much extraneous exercise was too much for her and made her throw up. Where was this competence earlier? The one competent thing that she has done this entire book is sneak off into the woods to throw up.
Queen shit.
Go girl, give us nothing.
Go girl, give us the absolute bare fucking minimum.
So what was that, 6 times in 2 pages that she was told to stay in the middle? I think I know what this thumbnail title is gonna be. And that's it for chapter 12.
That's it. It's too hot out to record another one.
Doesn't help that we're in, like, the hottest room in the house.
Yeah.
Because we're in the office is the west-facing room. But, oh well. I'm just looking at our new little shelf and our little order fulfillment center, because did you know that you can purchase signed paperbacks directly from me and they come with all kinds of goodies? You should do that. Go check out the links in the description, especially to Ko-fi, because that might be where the signed paperbacks are moving to soon. We'll see. I don't know. They're on Etsy for now, but maybe they won't be by the time this is public.
We're kind of juggling between Ko-fi and Etsy as our new storefront, basically.
So if you have opinions on that, please let me know. I would love to hear your feedback as readers of where you would like to purchase these books. And you should also purchase my books. Did you know there's a whole playlist of stuff about my books? Did you know I have published 4 books and you can get them? And I am told that they're pretty good, actually.
They are pretty good, actually.
They're at least better than this.
Yeah, they're certainly better than this.
You know, I might not be a perfect writer, but at least I didn't spend 2 pages reiterating the same idea 6 times.
Occasionally, I'll think that my writing is bad, and then I remember that I didn't write the line, somehow Palpatine is back. Somehow Palpatine returned.
Alright, well, I hope you guys had a great time listening and that you will listen in on the next chapter. Bye!
Bye!
Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to see your name here or in the description below, please consider joining my Patreon. Your support means so much to me and allows me to continue making content. If you want to support my content in different ways, consider buying my books, donating on Ko-fi, subscribing to the channel, or even just giving this video a like and comment. Any and everything is appreciated so much. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden!